A wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The CDC opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosile Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosile.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Another wonderful Tuesday afternoon to you, everyone. It is the 31st and last day of the month of March 2026. Welcome once again to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, your host and producer, alongside our technical operator, Alton Jaquan Joseph. I hope you've been having a good day so far, a good start to the week, a shortened week in terms of the cycle of our programming, which airs weekdays from 12:30 until 2 p.m. on the radio station called Real FM, available on the frequencies of 91.3 megahertz for those of you joining us in the northern part of St. Lucia, and 91.5 for the South. We simulcast on NBC Television, as in McDowell Broadcasting Corporation, available to you on Channel 120, the Flow Cable TV service. We're also on Facebook Live, and as we have happily announced for a couple of days now, we're back on YouTube live streaming. All right, tomorrow on the program, I want to tell you that I'll be having a team that is vying for election to comprise the executive of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, the CSA, and that is the team that is headed or led by the current or incumbent president, Tekla Goodman, and involving several other persons, some of whom I knew previously and some I didn't know of even their names before now. So they'll be on to talk about their plans for the, for the union, how they intend to take it forward. I did ask for a list of the names and the positions or the offices that they're vying for. It has not yet been provided to me, so I can't tell you who will be on tomorrow, who won't be. But whoever comes, it's okay. It's my style in broadcasting that I don't like to start at zero, that it's when people arrive that I ask them, what's your name? Which office are you going up for? Is that, I like to have a little bit of the groundwork already done, and I think that is the proper way. But the person I'm dealing with, maybe they're still trying to finalize that. But tomorrow, this is the expectation. I'm just letting you know. Speaking of unions, I've been in conversation with at least one person who tells me that he is either a member of the Seamen Waterfront and General Workers Trade Union, or one of the persons trying to see if they can revive the Seamen's Union. It was one of the most, we can say, regarded, respected trade unions in St. Lucia. But over the years, I seem to have heard less and less about the Seamen's Union, to the extent that when I got the call from that person, I had to ask, does the Seamen's Union still exist? It seemed like it has not been officially disbanded, but it has fallen on really hard and lean times, so that it's dormant. It seems to be in a somnolent state and so on. Especially since the well-known, or some of the well-known elders of that union either passed away or they went into retirement. I can think of a former very outspoken, vibrant president called Elijah Greenidge, many years since he's passed on. And I don't even think at the time he was still part of the executive or leadership of the union. I can think of Miss Crescentia Phillip, who was, if I remember correctly, the daughter of Mr. Horatius Phillip, if I'm not mistaken about that. She's still alive. But of course, age and health issues and so on, people eventually they will move on. They will perhaps no longer be capable of or have the willingness for certain things, whether it's in sports, trade unionism, politics, or whatever it is. I can think of, even though they were turbulent and not very stable days on the former president, Mr. Alcide. Yeah, there was a Mr. Alcide, I think. He was a lawyer. It seemed like there was some legal trouble that he got involved in, and also some controversy at the union. There was a general secretary, was that what she was, or some other position she held, called Miss Adolph. She also was in a lot of controversy with the union. I think had to take the union to court, and I think this is the first time that I got to know that employees of a union could not be represented by the union they're working for, so they would need another union, because she got into some standoff with Mr. Alcide, who many people thought was very ill-suited to be the president of the union. He was outspoken, got into quite a bit of a tiff with Lucilec back in those days. I think eventually he had to capitulate, but Miss Adolph, I think Mr. Alcide wanted to fire her, and she was represented by the National Workers Union, a rival union which had been competing for representational rights at Lucilec and other places. Sometimes Siemens would win the Lucilec one, but NWU would win maybe the hotels, some group of hotels, whether it was Sandals and so on. And it was very invigorating, exciting and so on to witness, the kind of sparring that took place, especially between those two unions. Miss Adolph, if I remember correctly, became ill, and I believe, from what I was told, I may have been out of St. Lucia at the time, that she... let me not say that, lest I be wrong, because sometimes you say those things based upon memory, and then you're wrong, and then people believe that you are wrong, or you've said a wrong thing maliciously, and then you basically will find it hard to find forgiveness. But I didn't know Miss Adolph, and she was a very... nice lady. Particularly all the people that I have encountered at the Siemens Union were very nice people. There was one, Mr. Hippolyte, was his name Michael Hippolyte, who was also a very simple man. Even in his years, he remained very firm and very committed to the Siemens Union. I don't know if he's still around. Haven't, since I came back, reconnected or met with many people. Does anybody know what's going on with the St. Lucia Siemens Waterfront and General Workers Union? Does it still exist? Is it still, a union of any sort of recognizability and viability? Does it still have bargaining units? Does it still represent people anywhere? It would be a very sad thing if a union like that, its legacy, its history, its origins and all of that, and the very name would tell you where its central base and maybe origin may have been. Siemens Waterfront General Workers Trade Union, maybe having a lot to do with the docks and with the harbors and with the marine port workers and so on, and the stevedores and those sorts of people. It would be a union that would have a lot of relevance, but did it continue to expand? Did it continue to try to venture into new areas, as we would say, new worlds to conquer? Or did it perhaps believe that its core membership, its starting membership and so on, that may have been enough for it, and that could have been a mistake? I don't know where it is, but if anybody can tell me where the Siemens Waterfront and General Workers Trade Union is now, I would greatly appreciate, because I just haven't heard anything of them. Another union, the Vieux-Fort General and Dock Workers Union, does it still exist? Did they disband? Are they still there? Sometimes things exist only on paper. There is a bit of intriguing history with the Vieux-Fort General and Dock Workers Union. I'm raising this today because industrial relations and workers' representatives and labor representatives are very important. Let us not think that modernization and the age of technology and IT and social media have made them relevant. They are important, and there is a song, I think, which has one word in it: for the union makes us strong, and I believe these are fundamentals that we must go back to, encourage people to go back to them. Even the rivalry between unions was healthy. We must not allow it to lapse, because even if there isn't a battle, there isn't a fight, there isn't a commotion, there isn't a confrontation between the union and some hotel or hotel chain or whatever, being part of organizations like this has the benefit of developing the capacity for cohesion even when there are disagreements and differences. It allows people to develop certain strengths, the strength of knowing that you should not and cannot try and will not succeed to do things on your own. And that you need that kind of organizational support and so on. And that sometimes if you're going on the wrong track, that there is somebody, to pull you up, to correct you and so on, to teach you. And I think trade unionism, as so many other things, prepares people for participation and accomplishment within a broader context, whether it is politics, whether it is, a lot of people come out of the trade union movement or venture into representational politics. Lawyers as well, but lawyers don't think that because a person is a lawyer that they're existing in some kind of solitary bubble or in some kind of vacuum. Lawyers are very networked people. Even lawyers who are friends, they will go to court and they will fight. And people talk this thing about lawyers go and they sell the case, and before they decide who's going to lose. I don't buy into that. And I think one time I had a conversation about that with Mr. Evans Cauldron, and he made short shrift of it, He basically shut it down and told me, this can't be true. Lawyers don't just work for money. Lawyers also work for reputation, I mean, how many cases have you won? And for you to go and throw a case that can be an absolute stain on your reputation as being someone. Lawyers are very competitive people. They will go and court their friends, but they don't treat it personally. But this is my brief and this is my case. And I want to win it because it is, a bit of how we call that, something on your sleeve, another stripe on your sleeve. It's another notch, on your stick that you won those cases. I remember, what was it? Someone telling me many, many years ago about two lawyers in St. Lucia. They're both deceased, so I think I can mention their names. I don't know if it's true, but somebody told me they had a law firm of Bledman and Riviere. What's his name? The late Primrose Bledman and the late Leonard Riviere. I don't know, but the person said to me, these fellas have never won a case, I don't know how true it is. Primrose Bledman seemed to have been very well and highly regarded, especially within the establishment of a time, the UWP and so on. And Leonard Riviere was in fact appointed after the 1982 elections, which he won the suffrage seat, lasted only one term. He was actually the Attorney General of St. Lucia. He was a man who carried himself well, no matter what people thought of him. Again, I like to go by my personal experiences, with people and so on. And Mr. Riviere was always very nice to me, one of the persons who had no problem giving you an interview and talking to you plainly. And I believe I may have developed a bit of a reputation of never misrepresenting anything that anybody told me. So they knew that, whatever things they spoke to me, that it would be carried well. And if they told me this is in confidence, don't, publish it. I'm just telling you for your own enlightenment, that I wouldn't go and blast it and so on, regardless of who they were and so on. But somebody said, and it was not said with any kind of niceness. So that, according to them, they were limited and restricted to doing, the kind of work that does not require to be in the courtroom, the solicitors' work, the corporate thing, the registering of companies and mortgages and deeds and those sort of thing. But they were not really courtroom fighters. Now, I don't want to disparage or denigrate. I've heard a lot of this thing, including about people who become law lecturers at universities that, if they were good at law, they wouldn't be teaching it and lecturing. I think one lawyer actually said of another that lecturing becomes, kind of like a refuge or, an anchorage for people who can't make it in the real world of which means courtroom fighting. So I suppose a person who molds the minds of other lawyers, don't tell me this person is a Lapo lawyer. They have to be a good lawyer for them to be able to teach people and make people into lawyers. But this is the kind of mean-spiritedness that sometimes rears its head in St. Lucia. A lot of people who are into corporate law and those things, they never appear in the courtroom, but they play a vital role. There are a lot of people who don't go to the courtroom, but they manage, that's what I suppose the King's Counsel and those senior lawyers are supposed to do, to be guiding and giving instructions to, to junior partners and so on in the law firm, etc. There are so many different areas of law. There's legislative drafting, the people who actually take intents of government expressed in policy and draft laws so that, they can withstand the test of the whole construction and they can withstand functioning within the broader scheme of law, that they do not conflict with or contradict or whatever other laws that may be, to see the relationship and the association so that there is harmonization in the law. It's a very difficult area, and I don't think even the university will admit somebody to the course in legislative drafting unless you are holding a position within, the state legal apparatus of the Attorney General's office or whatever it is, the Solicitor General, the DPP, where you have some business with legislative drafting. You're not going to become a legislative draftsman if you're a lawyer in private practice. You'll be drafting laws. So I think even the university, at least of the West Indies, will not, as far as I knew many years ago, admit you into a legislative drafting degree program or certificate program without that and so on. But we hear all those sorts of things. So let's go back to the whole matter of trade unionism. I would like to see a revival, if there is in fact what many people are alleging, that there was a very destructive period, especially in the life of the Civil Service Association. There have been others. And I remember those days where under his breath, but you could hear the absolute grief and sorrow and sadness in the voice of David DeMack. Once you hear the name of that man, it's trade unionism that comes. Yes, agriculture, director of agricultural services, and all of that we hear and so on. But where he sighed and he said, this union has been destroyed. And that was of the height where you swear people would have come to blows and fight with one another. And I don't know, a lot of people are of the view that the CSA has never really been able to live this down. You know, the Mary Isaac years, or if it even went for years and so on, and Wilfred Pierre and this kind of thing that went on, the whole magic showing that in the union. That the union has never really been able to live this down and to put it behind it and to move forward. Because once people engage in certain behaviors, even those who decry and denounce and oppose them come in believing that they have to engage in some of these intrigues, in some of this underhandedness, in some of this, what's the name, subterfuge and so on, for them to get a position and to maintain a position in the union and so on. Some people were attacked, and I think Cyprian Montrop can tell you a thing or two about that. He was a committed, and I think still is, a trade union-minded person and so on. You know, but because he stood for some principle, despite people telling me Montrop was not of any different political persuasion, but it's like once you were not on the side of certain people, they went after you to undermine you, to do a whole lot of things. And eventually it was found, or it was felt, that the people who were doing that, they were doing it so that they could have advanced their own personal interests. That they have some beef or some gripe, who wanted to be candidate, who wanted to be promoted to deputy PS or PS or whatever, who wanted, even after they had retired, to be given a permanent secretary position in some ministry or whatever. And I mean, they told them, look, you've retired already. So the union became a whip that they can use to lash the government of the day with and so on. And to basically say, if you don't give me what I want, or before not giving me what I want, I'm going to punish you. And I keep saying this again. I don't know why it's, well, maybe because of the unions that they have in their elections and so on. I keep saying this. At the end of the day, there can be only one loser in all of this. Who getting themselves fixed, who getting their hands greased, who getting, themselves fed from the hand, with whatever corn that they, that they're clucking for and so on. They get that, but what happens to the vast majority of people? And I'm urging this because I do not believe that there has existed a better time for trade unions to be able to act productively, successfully on behalf of their members. And I say this with all the bias, which I will admit, the pro-Labour Party bias. I think this is a party and it has a leader and it has ministers and MPs and members who are people who in their own lives have been strongly associated with labor or trade union representation, who have seen the value of those organizations, which are very closely aligned with the cooperative movement as well. Yes, the cooperative and credit union movement, they have been very closely associated with it. So they understand the value of workers' representation as a means of helping ordinary people and passing on the benefits of policies and programs to people, without it being directly connected to politics or a politician. But nonetheless, the policy benefits or the benefits of policies will get there, and they encourage trade unions. I believe this is a government which can make this one of the best of times for the trade union movement. And I would like to see them capitalize on it, take advantage of it. This is the minimum wage government. This is the government. I think you get the point, It's not a matter of the labor union. This is the government that has brought about, somebody send me a little note, tell me of all the different things that this government under Philip J. Pierre has done, which would make it appealing, attractive to trade unions, to credit unions, to such organizations. So I want to say this to the leaders and membership of every trade union. It don't matter if people consider it to be a Flabo-leaning union or whatever it is union. These are some of the best of times to capitalize on, to make the most and the best of the environment in the country, to the extent that the success and the flourishing of a trade union depends upon the political atmosphere of the time. This is some of the best. Make the most. Get leadership in place that is not selfish, that is not self-centered, that is not about getting a bigger house for myself so that I will, negotiate for myself on the side by living, the workers and so on. These are some of the best of times, These are some of the times to explore. how you can invest in certain things which you cannot do as an individual, but as unions, credit unions, you can invest, whether it is in the stock exchange, Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, in a mutual funds organization, that you can have that discussion. Some of the insurance companies that you are taking out group plans, group health policy plans. Are there opportunities where you can become stakeholders, in those entities, which as a result of so many different things, see the problems that CLICO came under, CLICO and British American, as a result of the global economic crisis and bad decisions by some of their founding leaders in Trinidad. What's the name? One passed away, Lawrence Dupre, I think was his name, and another one was in court recently, Andre Montiel, and all those fellas, What are there ways that you as trade unions and credit unions, and cooperatives can leverage that, either to buy stake and stock in them, either way you can start your own, insurance movements and so on. Do you know there is actually a state-owned insurance company in Antigua which has been very successful? Now, you would consider that this is essentially economic and commercial sacrilege and blasphemy and so on for a government to own an insurance company that's providing coverage. You can get health plans, you can get commercial plans, you can get, like I think, whatever it was, they had a power company, a state-owned power company, and they provided coverage for the engines and so on, so they get bad. How we can expand, getting control of our own things so that you can make investments. I think the national insurance is always looking for viable investments that it can use the contributions of workers to get into something. It doesn't always have to be what's the name of Norway's Holst. It doesn't always have to be of what's the other big name from Trinidad and so on. Namalco and all them who can come and take up or underwrite and fund major projects. You can have a consortium of a finance company. You don't have to be Sajiko Finance and this. I'm not saying anything wrong with them. But either you can become stakeholders with them, or you can become some kind of entity that goes beyond mere fighting with employers, because now you are part of the employment fabric and so on. You have your money invested there. You can exert influence at the board level, at the shareholders level and so on behalf of your members, etc., etc. Now, a lot of what I'm saying there, it may not make sense. Don't take me to task about it, because I'm not an expert in finance or insurance or any of those things. I'm just throwing out ideas of what are some of the things that we can do. Can a consortium of trade unions partnering together with insurance companies, seeing how the collapse of CLICO caused that development down in Prale, Le Paradis and so on to fold? Can they, for example, a set of trade unions with the dues from their members that they would need to invest? Because if you don't do that, just the rent and the salaries of your secretariat and your employees is going to eat it up and you'll have nothing. These are what the actuaries look into for our national insurance funds, to say, look, if we don't raise the pension age, if we don't find investments that return a greater yield and so on, we will not be able to pay the demands of people who have retired or pension, whatever, and need for us. We need to do this and that. That may be trade unions meeting together with credit unions and cooperatives and so on, and banding together with a Sajiko and how many of them can go to the government and say, look, we have a proposal that we can approach Trinidad and CLICO, whoever the receiver is and so on, and say, look, we want to buy or take over the whole Paradis lands and so on, and to revive and continue the development. And these are the projections and so on. And we just the same way like hotels come and they ask you for tax holiday and so on. Can you grant us waivers on this? This is the plan. This is the that. And whether the government acting through Invest St. Lucia or whatever it is can decide to buy some stake, so that you have this whole vast property that I think is in receivership. You can purchase it, you can revive it, you can offer whoever it is, that controls the receiver and so on, to take some stake in it, show them the employment projection figures, show them the returns that you expect to recoup from it, the basis for it and so on. And then rather than have such a major asset lying idle, not performing at all, you can bring it back to life, and you can see all the ancillary and spin-off benefits of the fishers and the sea moss people and the farmers and those who produce melons and so on, that they can supply it, whether through the Monrepo Farmers Cooperative, different bodies and so on, so that there is the intertwining of it all. But how can that happen if the union, to begin with, which is what I was talking about, is itself, so internally disemboweled and eviscerated and messed up? It cannot get its own act together. It's fighting a division. Everybody is trying to stab a knife in somebody else's back so that they can get position and which they can leverage for their own benefit and for their own selfish gain and advancement. How can you do that? These are some of the reasons why we are always stuck in subjugation, and the divide and rule is always working against us, and we cannot pick up ourselves to gain greater control of what are our own resources and our assets and so on. We can't do them because we're always too busy trying to fight and backstab and undermine and subvert one another. These are perhaps some of the many ways in which we can, shift the paradigm, alter the narrative, achieve different outcomes and results that are for the greater benefit of our country, its people, and the future generations. This kind of thoughts, they assail my mind when I see what's happening in the world. We have to think differently. We have to act differently. And I believe if we do, we are going to achieve differently, by which I mean better. What's the time now, Jaquan? Time for our first break, is it? Yeah, real issues. We take our first break, and when we come back from then, the telephone lines will be open for your calls. I'll be reading some of your messages. I know, with Holy Week, maybe on a more sedate, reflective, prayerful mood and so on. I don't know if Jaquan is one of them. He looks a little quiet, but I don't think it's prayerfulness that's causing that. Okay, we'll be back to continue our discussion.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417, let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay by Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The CDC opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosley Bus Stop, Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
You're listening to The Real Issues on the final day of the month of March 2026, Tuesday the 31st. And I'll declare the phone lines open, although I think only one of them is available right now. We seem to be having some problems since yesterday with our WhatsApp number. But if you want to call, the landline is available. Yes, the old faithful, old trusty. 4533911. That number is available, and the phone's just in front of me, so it's not. I don't have to depend on Jaquan for this one, to push, to pass the calls through. So if you want to call and say anything, it is available. 4533911, our local landline number. And now, yesterday I touched on it briefly, but I don't know if they've just decided either party to stop communicating publicly about what seems to be a standoff between them that is impacting the public interest, the public safety, the public convenience. This whole matter on the Viasikwi Road where Renault's construction, whether it's CIE or CIE's construction and industrial equipment, RG, whatever, they have different names, the RG Quarry and so on. But we know Renault Gajada's company was the contractor that was working on that, and apparently there was some issue between removing certain poles after you widen the road. Poles that were by the side of the road found themselves in the middle of the road, and it was a question of who should bear the cost of removing them. Of course, Lucilec would have to be the one doing the removal, because this is specialized, technical, and has tremendous safety implications. I think Lucilec is of the view that Renault should pay for it. I just want to say there seems to be, to me, some kind of intransigence going on there. And I think these are two mature companies, Lucilec perhaps more so than Renault in a strictly chronological sense. But I see some intransigence that I had not heard about before or become aware of. I don't know why in the quarter way through the 21st century we would be dealing with that kind of intransigence which would border on an impasse, like something which we can't get past that one at all. And I would hope that if that is still the case, that it is being worked out and it will be completely worked out. You're on the air, caller. Go ahead. Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sheldon.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you? Oui, Makatanwe.
Belle bon après-midi.
Oui.
Et puis toute la famille généralement. Et puis tout le monde qui a écouté Embassy, monsieur qui Embassy. So moi havin là yo ha tricks moi un jour. Yo me la télévision, existe toujours mon corps ouais moi mais toute la terre ha ouais moi.
Yeah, okay.
On va on 27 c'était birthday moi tenu un big day. Et moi tenu un golage. So les gars yo une personne moi kay douli et puis bien me dit bonjour. Puis et quand dit tout monde généralement qui veut request ben moi especially monsieur Dia, il met monsieur Dia dit ma quoi yo ha ça moi ka dit bonjour et toute la famille en généralement et puis tout le monde en belle merci. Les gars parler on fait ba ou moi ka dit business moi monsieur Sheldon j'ai toujours moi ka jeune love moi ka jeune kisses moi ka jeune birthday a dit tout ces gens qui veut birthday wishes là moi a dit merci en pile pour en pile tout le monde qui malade dans various hospitals en Saint-Lucie yo connaître quoi yo a dit bon Dieu bon en toute manière en toute raison en toute bail et c'est bon Dieu qui ba moi voilà salam moi ni à la tête moi a dit bon Dieu merci encore tous les jours a dit bon Dieu merci ou bien bonne journée et puis moi la ka couteau merci bye bye peut-être.
All right, okay. Est-ce que tu actuellement? All right, I should, some people, it can be a problem with our phone because some people hear us and others don't. So I don't know why, but we have another caller. Hi, Real Issues. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Daniel.
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we know that the CIP legislation was prepared during the term of Dr. Kenny Anthony. And we know that we were only allowed to sell 500 passports because we had a cap on the amount of passports that can be sold. And it was $3 million per passport. And Alan Shastney reduced it to $100,000.
Yep.
Cheapening the value of our passports. But we would like to know how many passports was sold under the administration of Alan Shastney, because his administration was the first to start selling our CIP passports. Where is that money? And what was done with that money? And we would like to know whether that money is still in the escrow account of T.O. King. These are the questions the journalist is supposed to ask him when he's making his silly statements about CIP. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate the call. All right. Jaquan tells me that 487-9849 is back up and running. So you can WhatsApp call us as of now on this number, the mobile number. You can WhatsApp call us 758, of course, our area code. You have to include that. 487-9849. And we've already had 2 calls on the landline, which is 4533-911. Good afternoon to Miguel Favre, who sends a message. He says, I can pick 20 random people off the street with my eyes closed, and you can be assured of 2 things. At least 15 of them will be taller than me. At least 20 of them plus their pets and broomsticks would provide better representation in the house for Miku South, I think he means. Happy Easter, Jesus wept, so did Sir John. Thank you very much for that. I try my best to keep my own advice and ignore Alan Shastney as much as possible, but the man actually has the audacity to write a letter, an open letter or whatever, to Prime Minister Philip J.P. trying to lecture him on how the proceedings of Parliament should be conducted. He has the audacity to do that. Anyway, we have another call on the line. Real Issues. Yes, good afternoon to you. Hey, forward la kumawi. It's a little low.
NBC.
Oka parler toi petit parler ti mettre plus fort ba nous.
Je voulais remercier NBC. Pour l'honneur yo ba moi. Jaim Yadi. Avec tout le monde, Dr. McDowell, tout le monde en général, je dis à moi, après moi, c'est NBC Prayer Warrior. Avec moi, je voulais remercier, je voulais féliciter. Là, non, monsieur, l'Amérique qui a coûté Samuel, qui a dit, mais il a coûté, il a traîné, alors il a content. Là, après, monsieur Samuel, ou ses frères Alvin, docteur Vec. So, je veux remercier, vous venez voir moi, je viens voir moi, être content, être maman, c'est content, ça. So, je veux remercier, je féliciter, et je regarde un petit morceau la prière. C'est ça, tout ça, je vis, je vivre, et je gagne l'honneur, en whole la terre. God will take care of us, for He has said He will never leave us or forsake us. Hebrews chapter 14, verse 5. May our troubled heart find peace and comfort in the acknowledge that we never alone. May God present case our trembling spirit and give us rest. He knows how we feel. He is ever aware of our circumstances and ready to be our strength, our grace, and our peace. He is there to cast sunlight into all our darkened shadows and to send encouragement through the love of friends and family and to replace our weariness with new hope. God understands. He is our provider today, tomorrow, and always, and He loves us. Cast all our cares on Him and believe. Maculé, toutes ces mounas éclairs, tout le monde a quatre coins la terre, quatre fois forward là. Le diable avait dit, moi love tellement, moi la comme merry go round. Moi y'en a whole la terre, ma côté love ça sorti papa vraiment moi. So ma remercier tout le monde whole la terre malade qu'on nous pièce pas bien important, petit moment nous va passer là. So Mr. Sheldon Daniel et tout le monde qui a écouté, voix forward là, love, Merry Christmas, Happy Congo. Medou, idodi et medou et pas merci.
Merci un peu forward là, et puis passez un bon le restant semaine et puis un bon Pâques. Okay, we have a call on the WhatsApp line, the first in a couple of days, isn't it? All right, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
You off the TV. You off TV.
Oh, you sure? Because you're the first and only person so far who has told us that, you know. Isn't it? Is there anybody else?
I can hear you, but I can't see anything.
Okay. Well, maybe I haven't checked the chat yet to see, but I'm sorry about that. But go ahead. We're hearing you. At least we have you. You know, people can hear.
I can hear you, but I just called to say that.
And you have a radio or something that is on and that's close to your phone, because the feedback I'm hearing it coming. You have to turn down your TV or radio that you're listening to us on.
Cannot see to put the volume lower.
You can't put the volume lower?
Let me tell you. Okay, I put it down. I'm calling to say that the PM is taking too much chance with Chasney.
No, but we still hear the feedback in the background. You have to turn down the radio or TV and talk to us through your phone.
I don't have I'm talking through the phone. Just hold on.
No, but we still hear the feedback in the background. You have to turn down the radio. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Just complete your contribution. We'll try to work with that.
I'm talking through the phone. We have to put a stop to Chasney once and for all. I'm tired of it.
Okay, go ahead. Just complete your contribution. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Maybe somebody who's not really mobile, so they talk to us and they can't really move across. But try your best to turn down the volume on your. Okay, we have another call on the landline this time. Hi, you're on the air. Go ahead. Yeah, hi. The TV is off. Okay. Okay, all right. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, Andrew Antoine says, yes, Shelton, you are definitely off TV. And another person says, no video. Let's see who else is saying that. She is correct, no TV. All right, okay. And we got that from very, I would say, reliable, if not authoritative sources who have told us that we're off the TV. Jaquan has gone to check on that. So I suppose our technicians are looking into it right now. I don't know, we seem to have a few little gremlins that are getting into our system these days. If it's not the phone, it's the TV, etc., etc. But I know the tech guys are always in the control room and looking at things. So let's hope that they would have been able to see what's happening. I rather suspect, if that is the case, that they are working on it but have not had any success. Sorry about that, folks. If it ain't one thing, it's another. But such is life, okay? We didn't need John Lennon to tell us that? Was he still with the Beatles at the time, or was that one of his solos? You know that song, if it ain't one thing, it's another. All right. Real issues, you on the air. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know why this issue they can't see on TV. It's not that handsome.
No. Once I'm not on the TV, guys, some people getting mad.
But if they can hear you without seeing you, that's fine.
No. It's better if they see me, and this can only come from a fella who's jealous, because he knows once my face is seen, the whole place shell down, boy. Yes, sir. And what's up? Yes. Indeed.
Shelton, you did start mentioning the letter from the leader of the opposition to the Prime Minister regarding the whole contribution to the estimates of expenditure.
Yes.
I want to say a few things, Shelton. Number one, I think Frank was the one who called this morning. He was very right. All Alan Shastney had to respond to was the Prime Minister's delivery of the estimates, and nothing else. So whether the Minister for Sport or for Infrastructure spoke or anything, the Prime Minister delivered the estimates. Shastney would have had a copy of the estimates, and this is what he was supposed to respond to. But as usual, he was unprepared, and he doesn't understand anything that he tried to read in the estimates. That's number two. And of course, another thing I want to say, which may be a bit to the detriment of us supporters and the Labour Party, I think we're playing right into his hands, because all these antics are just to place attention on himself and to hide or mask the fact that he really can't understand anything presented to him in the estimates. You understand?
Yeah.
So I think what we should be doing now, and also I spoke to a gentleman who made a very important point. Right now, we haven't heard anything about, from in the public sphere and all the critics about Lisa's contribution, about Danny's contribution, the young people who actually made some really great contributions to the debate. I think we should shift our focus to that. But I want to note two things which I noted this morning in Shastney's letter. Number one, if you notice, he mentioned that between 2018 and 2026, government spending has gone up to close to $1 billion, right? I think 900 and something million he did state. He said 2018 to 2026. He would not say in his bid at deceiving people, he will not say that the majority in that period, that 8-year period, the majority of that spending was between 2018 and 2021 when he left office. Right? And number two, again, he's trying to deceive the people with this thing about the debt to GDP ratio is at 77%. He left it, and I could quote Dr. Carlton Augustine, at 102%.
Yes.
So while 77 may sound high, he is not.
It is far below what he left it. It's almost 30% below.
Exactly. So my point, the point I really want to make is we say it, but then there are times when we need to stop dissect certain things that he says and just stop giving life to his antics, and just deal with certain issues and points that he brings up, because Alan Shastney is relentless, and he is very good at being a petulant child. And I think he knows right now from both the general public and supporters of the opposition what will get their attention, what will keep him in the limelight and the spotlight.
Miguel, what I find to be disturbingly remarkable about Alan Shastney, Donald Trump is trying to ridicule Gavin Newsom these days about learning difficulty or disability. I think Newsom probably has or had dyslexia or something like that. Alan Shastney seems to have a very serious learning disability, which is called arrested development. He does no, seriously. The guy does not seem to be able to mentally move from one level to another, despite repeated repeated reinforcements and guidance. And here's what I'm talking about. Alan Shastney has just not seemed to learn that as the leader of the opposition, maybe he didn't learn it in his first term because he came in straight as prime minister, so he never got the experience. That your business and duty as the leader of the opposition is to reply to the presentation, by the prime minister on the estimates. Forget about who's coming after you. Stop keeping yourself in a perpetual angst, about what Richard may say after you. Your responsibility and your focus. You yourself said about letting the dogs back. You focus on what the prime minister said, and if you want to hold to your let the dogs back and the jackasses bray, everybody after that consider them to be a jackass brain and so on. You are replying to the estimates, not playing a cat and mouse game to make sure nobody can come after you and refute you and rebut you, or you have to come. And the guy did that for 4.5 years before the last elections. Yes. He saw it never worked. All it resulted in him being made a complete fool of, as I love to say, being punked over and over again. A new term of parliament has started. Your party is in a worse position than it was. You are the lone voice, not just for Miku South. You are the lone voice for a lot of the people of St. Lucia who want some counter, view or some counter perspective or position on what the government is saying. So now you alone have to carry that load. You start back on the same thing, depriving the people of Miku South of a voice in parliament to speak on their behalf, and of the people of St. Lucia who do not support the government. You're depriving him of that because you want to continue in the same vein, of playing this cat and mouse game. So you prefer not to talk, not to represent, not to speak on their behalf at all because Richard has not spoken. That's not your business. And the guy has just not gotten that across 5 years. You understand? He hasn't. This is arrested development.
I've never been a parliamentarian, but I am sure Alan Shastney should know through all his years in parliament, dating back to his time as tourism minister, even if he does respond to the prime minister and he wants clarification, or there are some issues with any of the quote-unquote important ministries that he said, if the minister for infrastructure makes a comment that is out of the way, he has the opportunity to stand a point of order or elucidation. He has all those opportunities. So Alan is just being petulant, and I think the time has long gone for us to start just ignoring those antics and just deal anything that has to do with governmental issues and policy. Let's just deal with that. Let Alan and the people around him.
Makes you know something? I am fully on board with you on that one about not giving the guy time of day and attention that he's seeking in his petulance. But on the other hand, there is something that keeps gnawing at me and tugging at my conscience and my heartstrings. If Alan is not giving a voice to the people who have kept faith with him, Miku South has become what Miku North used to be, They're not budging at all. In the 16-1 of 1997, Miku South, they yielded, they gave somebody else a chance for only one occasion. But since then, they have not moved at all. Miku North has twice, you understand, decided that they go in for the Labour Party after so long of never budging. Miku South has only done it once, you understand? And like even in the total red wash, of 2021 and 2025, Miku South has held firm with the Labour Party, with the United Workers' Party, and with Alan Shastney. These people, they deserve a voice. They deserve somebody to go to the parliament and speak to them. You understand? Speak about them. Speak for them. Say, look, you all have not done this. This is 5 years the Labour Party is in office, and so and so and so has not been done. This kind of thing. The guy, not even that can move him. That regardless of your unhappiness with the speaking order, there are things about the trust that the people have placed in you, have retained in you, and so on, that you should speak on their behalf. He refuses to see it in that context. His mind is focused on only one thing: I will not speak if I don't have first what Richard Frederick and Ernest Delay and so on have to say. What kind of magic is that?
And Shelton, all this can be avoided if we look forward, because you were at Radio St. Lucia at that time. I was at Choice TV. I did about 2014. the Constitutional Reform Commission review the recommendations, the right to recall. Let the constituents, give the constituents a voice and opportunity for them to say, we are dissatisfied with this man's representation and we'd like to recall him as an MP and let's get a by-election. I think moving forward to avoid anomalies, because anomalies can happen more than once, like Alan Chastney, we need to put those constitutional.
You know, I disagree with you on that one. I don't fundamentally disagree. You know, I like the intent and the thinking behind it. But the politically ruthless part of me says, leave him there. You know, leave him there. As long as he's there, we have less to worry about. United Workers' Party will never get its act together under this guy. They will never reform. They'll never fix. He'll use his wealth and his father's influence, whatever, to make sure he hold on to the leadership. In other words, this guy's going to suffocate the UWP. He'll sit down, his backside, he'll smother the UWP under his bam and so on, you know. And so UWP will never be able to breathe some invigorating air into reform and so on. So the politically ruthless part of me, you know, says, leave him there. UWP will never get its act together under him. But then, what I'm saying to myself, the people of Miku South and also all over St. Lucia who no longer have a Bradley, you understand? Who no longer have a this. There's only one person on whom they hang their hopes and they depend for somebody to speak on their behalf. All the people in St. Lucia who, in spite of the numbers tipping in favor of the Labour Party in 16 of the 17 constituencies, plus Miku South, which made a decisive count in favor of the UWP, they deserve to have somebody, not because they were outmatched and outnumbered and outvoted. They deserve to have somebody who represents their perspective. The guy apparently has never seen himself as carrying that responsibility and having some kind of sense of duty and conscience to carry it out. This, I think, is absolutely unconscionable. It's gone across 5 years. It's enough time for him to have learned, you know, a different lesson. That's why I tell you, this fella is stuck in a learning disability called arrested development, you know.
All right, my brother. But let me know hold up the line. Have a good one.
All right, thank you.
It's a great comment. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah. Okay, folks, where are we now, Jaquan, with the time? Yeah? Break time, okay. So let's take the break, and then when we come back, we'll take some more calls and messages.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, Vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
With the real issues, and I'm Shelton Daniel, your host, alongside Alton Jaquan Joseph, our technical operator. We are going until 2 o'clock. We are already almost at 20 to 2, so make the most and the best of it. Both lines are working today, we've proven. You can WhatsApp call us on 487-9849. That's the mobile number. You need this area code 758, of course. And you can reach us on our landline number, which is 4533-911. I think the television problem that you alluded to has been resolved. Apparently there was some little glitch and the technicians were monitoring it, trying to get it resolved. First they had to identify what it was. They did identify it and they did what was necessary. So we should be back on the TV. And let us know how it is by you. Yes, someone says it's better now. So I suppose Empress Bobo said, yes, Shelton, we're not seeing you on the TV. Maybe she wrote that a little earlier on. That was at 1:21. She told us that. So at 1:23, someone called Lorna told us it's better now. Okay. Someone has sent me a nice message saying that the project put, I suppose, what I spoke about, the Viasikwi Road and the Simming impasse between. The actual pronunciation of the word is impasse, even though it's spelled impasse. I think it comes from the French impassable, we say impasse, it's the more common thing. But I think the actual pronunciation is actually impasse, Yeah. And I think I first heard my former co-worker, Linda Charles Ambrose of Grosley. I haven't seen or heard from Linda for a very long time. It sounded very powerful when she was reading the news. She said, impasse, and I asked her, and she said, yes, it is so, and I went to check, and she was correct. Hey, Linda, you still around, girl? Give me a shout, sometime. My number's still the same, so I need to talk if you're still in St. Lucia. I don't think you're dead, okay? So, gotta be careful. And, so I was talking about that, and someone says that they heard that I was discussing the Norbe Road, and of course Norbe Viasikwi is the continuation of the same road, Norbe being the part, I suppose, that joins Corinth, goes up and continues. And they said that there is an update from Lucilec on that project, and they've sent me the clip. It looks like, from what I'm seeing, just 30 seconds. So Jaquan, I'll send it to you. I think something from Lucilec, and the person who sent me can be trusted. We have a call on the line. Real issues, you're on the air, and they've sent me the clip.
Good day, Shelton.
How are you doing?
Yeah. I'm good. It's good to be back on WhatsApp.
Okay. Yes, it is.
Thanks for calling on WhatsApp. Yes. Like you guys were talking earlier in your preamble, Shas has nothing to show. So he just created a distraction because he knows that what is presented there, he cannot match that, he cannot debate, he cannot do anything about it. Because I mean, that's the best budget in the history of St. Lucia. What can he say? He cannot say anything. So he just creates that distraction all the time, walking out and do all these things. Yeah, so you can clearly see that it's rhetoric. Yeah. So year in, year out, Shas is doing the same thing.
Okay.
And Mikuls is still gonna vote for him, regardless.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm often
talk from now.
Yeah, I'm often conflicted on how much I want to talk about Chasney, but it's not about Chasney. It's about the implications. I mean, people voted for you when everywhere else was wiped out. You understand? You know, the people of Niku South, they stood up. And even in places that voted for Labour, it doesn't matter. There are still people who do not support the government, who support UWP, or they're just people. You know, you might be surprised that an opposition leader can actually speak in a context that is to the benefit and for the good intention of government supporters. He might say something or take up a case that even government supporters, you know, will applaud, and they'll say, well, yes, you know, this is something that's dear to our hearts. Shasney has to see himself in a context bigger than the very narrow, restricted and limited bubble in which he perceives himself and the politics and the country. Anyway.
Exactly. He's very selfish. He only thinks about himself. Because I've seen it happen so many places. I remember I was watching the politics in St. Kitts, Nevis, and the opposition leader actually supported the government in a lot of the projects. He said how it will benefit the country. Even in Trinidad, even in Tobago, the opposition play a very vital part because they know the people voted for them. They represent the people. That's what you have to remember. But he doesn't think about the people. The man just thinks about himself. So you clearly see that. I mean, so many positive things came out of this budget, benefiting a wide section of the population, including his supporters. And he would not come and say anything about that because it doesn't suit his narrative. And year in, year out, because same thing. And I think Lucians are just going fed up of that because everybody that's fed up with Chasney, they give Chasney too much attention. Yes, I think there's too many things that are more important, that have to be spoken other than Chasney.
Yes,
that's my contribution.
All right, thank you very much.
Right,
where did we get him? Did we get him on the landline or on the WhatsApp? Okay, because I was going to press that button. All right, thank you very much, Miguel. In response to my mentioning Linda Charles Ambrose, my former co-worker at Radio St. Lucia, and an all-round nice person, humorous and so on. You have to know sometimes not to take her too seriously because she can be a little sharp and so on. She gives a little dig at you, and if you're not somebody who can take a joke, or you a little too serious and a little too stuck up, but she was a great person. Linda's still around. I met her after election, still the same personality, and the person says, that's Miguel, of course. I laugh out loud. So, Linda, a hi to you. I suppose one of these days we are going to run into each other. By the way, I was actually, a successor in a certain position. Linda, I think, was once the personal assistant / press secretary to Honorable Julian Hunt. And then I think after one of the elections in which Mr. Hunt was involved, I kind of moved into that position after her because I believe she had gone overseas to the UK to further her studies. I can't remember the exact sequence of things, but I moved into that role. So actually I was someone who had to find a way to fill the shoes of Linda Charles Ambrose. Not in terms of getting bigger, but maybe downsizing, because I'm sure her shoe size is considerably smaller than mine. But in terms of her capabilities, intelligence, her experience, and so on, I'm sure I would have been needing to do some catching up and so on. Great person. She told me she's the mother of one son who I don't think I ever met, maybe somebody that I run into all the time. But so let me also say hello and greetings to your son, Linda, who I've never met and so on. Anyway, we're coming closer to the end of today's program, so do your utmost if you intend to call, to get that call in. Things are working well now, and we want to make sure that we keep them working. Let me see, who else? Okay, so did you get that little select clip that I got? Let's play it now. folks, there's no voice narration in it. Just the video and of course the music demonstrating, I think, or displaying that Lucilec is in fact relocating the poles, moving them from the potentially unsafe, maybe disastrous areas inside the road, the motorable road and so on, to the side of the road. So, work is being done on that. I don't know it's been completed. The person who sent me the note said that this is the latest update from the company, meaning Lucilec, on that project, posted to their social media pages last week. So if it was done last week and we are in the middle of this week already, I'm sure some further progress would have been made. Whether it's been completed, I believe they will tell us. So I'm happy to see whatever may have been the standoff, may have been the period, the momentary of intransigence, that it is behind and something is being done for the public good, and that every associated issue there would be resolved. Miguel, you know too many things. He says that Linda's son is called Ibra, Easy Ambrose, tall just like his mother, and similar personality, a tad more reserved. Okay, all right. So Linda's a great personality. In that newsroom at Radio St. Lucia, she really, kept things, tops in terms of energy, in terms of laughter and joking and so on. And she wasn't a thin-skinned person. She didn't take anything seriously and too seriously for her own good. But of course, you knew when she was serious, and she was serious regarding her work and so on. Never a slacker, never somebody, And another thing about her, she could work very fast. Linda would churn out, the news scripts and things for you very quickly. She didn't sweat the small stuff and the non-essentials and so on. She went straight to the point and all of that. So this was the kind of energy that she brought that I remember very much. Energy and humor. All right, thanks very much, Miguel. And since I don't have any number that I think works for her, and you perhaps are more recent in your communication with her, convey to her my regards, okay? All right, we have another caller on the line. Real Issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. Charlotte.
Hi, good afternoon to you. Go ahead.
All the time people say they're not getting you. Have you on TV there?
Yeah, the TV was giving some problem, but we got it fixed.
But I was wondering whether I was on a different TV.
No, no, we got it fixed.
Because you never go up there on my mobile. That's what.
So you mean you are seeing me
now because I'm calling you?
So you mean you are seeing me from the beginning of the program?
Yes.
And it never stopped?
No.
I'll have to investigate all those people. Those people are probably.
I had you there before you came over. I had you there.
Ya say some se moun sa c'est mal fait ben qui ça so porte moi pas apparaître dans la TV. Na ni moi investigate se moun sa.
Est-ce que pas vraiment ce programme ça?
Si on coup de battre mon balier moi ba yo chaque na fait.
Ouais. Avant vous pensez moi t'es là.
All right. Okay. Okay, my friend.
All right then.
So where you calling from?
BZ,
okay. I'll start to ask people that to find out, whether there's some areas that, are more susceptible to that kind of thing and others, Maybe the north is having it better than the south and the east coast. I don't know. Maybe I'll just try to informally find out. Yeah. Okay, moi de bout actuellement. Ça va pour faire? Ah ouais, vous c'est un homme comme moi-même, pas venir parler about point langue exactement. On va entendre ça pièce. Quand les conversations ça garçon. OK? Moi juste parler about ces malfaiteurs, on m'a foutu un coup de bâton balai quoi faire moi ça on a quoi faire sonner à quoi d'ouvrir pour un point en l'air moi. Garçon, I fait ça fort. Merci un peu le frère. Nous allons parler. OK. All right, Real Issues. We continue taking your calls. The landline on this gentleman just called is 4533911. And you can also reach us on the mobile number for WhatsApp calling. And that is 487-9849. That's 758, our area code 487-9849. All right. Good afternoon to Alvin Kanaya, St. Lucian resident in the USVI. He sends something a little lengthy about automatic traffic cameras, which he says are expensive. However, we can do community traffic policing. Passengers should ask reckless drivers of the minivans to put them down without having to pay for partial reckless ride. The passenger should also record the discussion and send it to the police. That particular driver and van should be placed on a reckless driver list and fined. We all have phones. We need to record some of the reckless driving for everyone and send the video to the police to issue fines or citations. Folks, we need to be our brother's keepers more today than we ever been. We can also create some educational cautious and responsible driving videos, including some of the casualties of irresponsible driving and the lives lost and human suffering caused. Play the videos on the various websites. Also ask responsible TV and radio networks to play them as a free community service. I think it means highlight the medical emergency and police resources and hospital rooms occupied and wasted due to a few people reckless and selfish behavior. These same resources could be needed to attend to saving their loved ones' lives for normal medical emergencies and procedures. We need to suspend licenses as well as an increased sentences and fines. Blessings. All right, thank you very much for that, Alvin. The problem is when you're on a bus and the driver is, driving recklessly and so on. You'll be surprised. You speak up and say, driver, come on, you can't be overtaking this thing around the corner there. You could have gotten us all hurt or whatever. Is that other passengers on the bus? I don't know if this same thing about we like to be in the good books of people. A driver, we probably feel we don't want to offend them. They're the ones who going to open up. They're not talking, but they're the ones who, when the driver start giving you chat, they'll give them chat. Why you had to go and be on the bus? If the bus driver thinks for you should have your own vehicle, you should have your own, this is the kind of chat that you have to get. Very few will stand with you and will speak up. The practicality of asking a bus driver to put you down, when you are, say, in a place like Wavin Poisson and so on, and getting bus that will be passing that area, I think that's route what 2A or something for Bexon and those kind of places. I could be wrong on that. No, maybe I'm wrong on that. Is a Dennery bus or a Viewfort bus coming from Castries heading, for Dennery and the south? I think Viewfort buses generally they consider the first place that they should be stopped. Although it's not a law, but they feel that you shortchanging them. Would be Prale to begin with, Prale, Monrepo, Miku, whatever, and so on, heading to Viewfort. The Dennery buses, is the Dennery Valley, even though I think they're Valley buses that are on a separate route. I can't remember clearly. Or reaching as far as Dennery. You ask a bus driver to put you down at Wavin Poisson. My friend, which bus you going to get now from there that will be taking you, to Viewfort? You understand? All Dennery buses coming up that way, they're full already, so everybody will be passing you. Viewfort buses will be full already, and they're looking forward to, if they have to make a stop before Viewfort, is from Prale onwards and so on. And so you could find yourself be stuck there. You probably have your shopping bags. Who knows, you may have a child with you, 1 or 2 children and so on, and you get into this kind of thing. So I think for the practicality's sake, the convenience sake, the difficulty you could place yourself in, and a bus full of other people that may not back you up, that may not want to serve witness or speak in your favor when you make that report, it's not very practical at all. On the other hand, do you want to stay on a bus where you can see clear signs that you could be killed in the things that the driver is doing that other people don't back you up? It can be a difficult decision to make, but like you say, we have phones. We can film things. You can actually film, and it will give a sense of how fast that bus is moving down a hill and the places where the overtaking took place and so on, which is the best thing to do. And maybe you can stream it or send it to some police source, whatever that you can do. If you can take a dash cam, a shot of how you call that, the speedometers and so on. I don't know, there are different ways, but sometimes the practicality, if it's in the Bad Lil, which is another dangerous place, you ask a driver to stop for you there. How do you get up there and know that you're not going to be mugged and hombred and held up and, attacked and assaulted and that sort of thing? You do it. What other bus you going to get in the barrel and so on, if that is where you consider the danger is being done, you then have to walk, if you're lucky enough that it is on the Dennery facing side of the barrel. Are you going to take it on foot all the way to Tamazo and whatever to wait for? It's not an easy thing. I see the principle in what you are saying, but it's not that easy. All right. Okay. Good day, Mr. Shelton. It was not showing anything yesterday. Also, it was doing like Allen on the TV. The TV was not playing. They said, I think we knew that yesterday, that we had a bit of a bother or something like that. I think maybe we knew it, but sometimes it takes us in the radio studio by surprise. Let me just tell you that Real Issues is being hosted in the radio studio. So while we should be able to monitor, but we're not in the TV studio, and our technicians, if there's a problem with the TV, they are monitoring. They should be able to pick up, but the communication doesn't often reach us at the same time. We are rapidly running out of time for today's program. Good afternoon to Mr. Mohammed Aziz, who's just sent a message to me saying, my brother cool. He said, they're okay, he and his wife and so on. Remember I told you Mr. Mohammed Aziz, who had this nice little eating place down by Jean-Baptiste Street, Country Kitchen Cafe. He moved up to the Rodney Bay Railway area, opened up a place called Pepper Potts. But he and his wife who ran it have decided, that it's time for them to call it a day, to pack up and to go home to rest and enjoy, I think, a well-deserved retirement and so on. So the best is just sending me a message letting me know that they're still around. Okay, so all the best to you, Mr. Aziz, and to Jem. Of course, I saw Nurani on the TV not too long explaining, he's the CEO, of course, of the St. Lucia Hotel and Tourism Association, and explaining the whole thing, the discussion about importing water from Dominica and so on for the use of the hotels and all of that. I think we'll let it rest now for the Real Issues for today. The last day of the month of March 2026, as of tomorrow, we're going to be in April territory. Thank you very much, Jaquan. It's been a great month that I think that we've had, and I think we're going to have a great April as well. All the best to you until tomorrow, everyone, from 12:30 to 2 for another broadcast of The Real Issues. Bye for now.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real Issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
The wait is over. You've rested, and now it's time to put on those dancing shoes.
The winning numbers for the midday draw of Tuesday, 31st March 2026 were Double Daily Grand 1, 3, 13, 19, Big 4, 2, 9, 9, 6. The Big 4 multi-X ball drawn is FD. Big 2, 9, 9. The Big 2 multi-X ball drawn is 5X. 1 off. 6, 4, 8. Lucky 3, 9, 4, 7. The Lucky 3 multi-X ball drawn is FD.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no